Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Killer Storyteller podcast with me, Rachel Lynch. It's great to have you with us for another episode. Our 10th episode. How cool is that? Let's bring in my Aussie pal to the mic. Hi, Christy Horn. How's Melbourne?
G'day, Rach, and hello from Melbourne, which is in tip-top condition. And as the weather starts to pick up, Rach, Melbourne really likes to show off, and she is a beauty. It's such a gorgeous city. It's great to see you, Rach. I'm doing really well. And how about that? 10 episodes.
Yeah, awesome. Can't believe it, actually. It's gone really quickly.
It has gone super, super fast. It's so brilliant. And I tell you what, folks, strap in because we are just warming up. And not only has Rach got a bunch more books to be launched in 2026, but we are definitely itching to get some special guests to join us, right?
Yeah, we're having so much fun, but we are going to get some guests on, aren't we? Some specialists and some authors too. But today we are diving into book 5 in the Kelly Porter series, Bold Lies.
And this is a really special book to me because it's the first book that I read, which started a snowball of occurrences, us meeting, which was awesome, having you a guest on my other podcast, Two Cousins, One Chat, the Australian Rachel Lynch Book Club, and now this amazing podcast. And we're already up to number 10, so I couldn't be happier. I'm so glad to be doing this.
Amazing, me too. And again, no spoilers in this episode, we promise. We will chat about themes and storylines, but not the ending. And as always, we love hearing from those reading along and tuning in. So if you're up for it, send us a note. It'd be great to hear from you wherever you are and wherever you're up to. So as usual, we are just going to do a little quick intro on the book, just to put it into some context in the series. It was written and published way back in 2019. I wrote some of this in the Lake District on a research trip to Derwent Water. Derwent Water is of Swallows and Amazons fame. Beautiful, beautiful lake with Keswick at its northern tip, overlooked by the incredible Skiddaw Mountain. Took me about 2 months. It was quite a quick one. It was really bursting out of me to get onto the page. Main theme of the book is corruption in Big Pharma, which is one of my favourite topics. I love following conspiracy theories and this whole idea that Big Pharma is full of, billionaire, corruption and that sort of thing is I find really fascinating. In fact, I actually revisit this theme a little bit in number 13, which is out next year. Season, it's late spring, so it's actually before the peak season gets going, so it's nice and quiet, which makes it a bit more sort of sinister. All the boats are being repaired in the boat shed. Everybody's getting ready for the summer season. Yeah,
that's interesting. So this was written before COVID.
Yes, yeah, just before. Yeah, which it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because obviously that was on. The big pharma thing was on my mind before COVID, and now it's a much bigger conspiracy theory. It's everywhere, and that's why I felt as though I had to revisit it in number 13. It just felt a natural time to do it. But I just think that the whole world of conspiracy and corruption lends itself to crime beautifully.
Yeah, definitely. It's great storylines there.
So over to you, Christy, for your summary. Now, you're a professional podcaster, but you blow me away with these blurbs. Take it away.
They're so much fun. It's all smoke and mirrors. Woo-hoo-hoo. But anyway, oh, shit. The lamp. All right, Rach, here goes. Bold Lies is the title, and the tagline is, in the pursuit of power, there's no place. Oh, hang on, let me read that again. Bold Lie. Bold Lies. Starting it. Bold flies? Did somebody order a bowl of bold flies? All right. Bold Lies is the title, and the tagline is, in the pursuit of power, there's no place for truth. So let's go. The novel begins with D.I. Kelly Porter facing a grim discovery of a decomposing body discovered inside the Lady of the Lake on the Derwent Water in the Lake District, with dark secrets to tell. What looks like a local crime soon spirals into a far-reaching case as links emerge to two London scientists whose suspicious deaths have been staged. Drawn back into the capital, London, Kelly must reunite with her former partner, DCI Matt Carter, reigniting old tensions and unspoken feelings. Together, they peel back layers of corruption, deceit, and power games, uncovering a deadly conspiracy. This is a gripping blend of police procedural, personal drama, and relentless suspense. Whew, got that through that one, Rach.
And Krista, nice one, Christy. Let's crack on with Bold Lies.
Rach, Bold Lies doesn't exactly start gently, does it? The novel opens with D.I. Kelly Porter called to a grim scene with the dead body of George Murphy decomposing in the boat. The way it's discovered by Graham and the pong, honestly, you can almost smell the corpse in the air. You've done it again, Rach, in this book, jolting us readers right from the very first page.
Oh, it's a shocker, isn't it? Poor Graham. He'll never get over it. I just love writing these scenes. They're so full of tension, and the beginning and the endings of the books for me are the smoothest to write. Actually, it's the bits in between that I find the hardest. I think if I've got an idea in my head and I open with a bang, it comes quite easily. Every author's different, obviously, but it's the sort of the complexities in between that I find really hard. So writing these, even though obviously the subject is grim, it's a joy, if that's okay.
That's okay. We're allowed
I
to
enjoy
laugh about
writing
that.
about George, poor George, decomposing.
Oh, no, the stink. Geez, Graham, he came across that one. But it
Poor
totally
Graham.
works because from that moment, you're in and there's no escape. And then you quickly whisk us down to London, which is such a shift. I loved how it felt like Kelly was being dragged back into her old life. You must have had fun playing with that contrast between the moody stillness of the lakes and the fast, high-pressure London world. Did you?
Yeah, I thought it was time to revisit our old life by book 5. And of course, my prequel is out in January. It's called First Act. And readers will really get to know Kelly in London in 2008 before she actually worked in Cumbria. So in Bold Lies, she hooks up with some of her old colleagues. And the London angle also allowed me to bring in more plausible themes of the big pharma and political corruption at the heart of the dirty business, because obviously a lot of that takes place in the capital. So it kind of fell into place, really. But so this plot is pretty complex, but I like it when my own books keep me working hard, and I'm assuming that readers like it when they have to work a bit as well.
Yeah, and that's such a good point because I found that with Bold Lies. So, and then had to sort of keep going back to some bits and like, who's that? And because during the first sort of, I don't know, not third of the book, the storyline was, I was following along really well, and then there's these new characters that get introduced, and that made it really like many more layers. So that was really interesting. So it's really clever. But yeah, so Kelly's in London, and then in with the bang walks DCI Matt Carter, also known as Matt the Twat. But I wasn't ready for that one, Rach. And their history adds so much spice to the investigation. Did you always know you were going to bring him back, or was it one of those plot decisions that kind of crept up on you?
Yeah, it had to happen because
It's so good.
he's really the reason why she's back in the Lake District, and then she's had
Yeah.
5 books to grow, and now she's thrown back into her old life, and it's not just the shock of the city and the smell and the concrete, and the pace. Matt the Twat's there as well, and we just had to meet Matt the Twat. And the lady Claire Cassane, who actually does the audio, she's Northern, and so her voice is quite similar to mine because I wanted somebody to really enunciate, the disgust that Kelly holds for him. And she read that line so beautifully on the audio.
Yeah.
Sending Kelly back to London gives the reader, an opportunity to understand more about her backstory and
Yep.
why she was so desperate to leave, and
Yep.
and also what an absolute idiot he is.
Yeah, yeah. We'll get to a little bit more of that later on. There were some interesting lines in there. She didn't want to go for a run when she was back in London because she didn't want her nose full of grit and dirt either.
Yeah.
So she's really, oh, excuse me, I just burped. I'll edit that bit out or not, whatever.
Right? Everything's welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really interesting. And as a reader, I was really torn between, oh no, not him again, bloody Matt. And yep, this is going to be good. Bring it on.
Yeah, and I wanted that play because obviously she was in love with him. She was quite young, because it was back in Dark Game. She's 36, so and he really broke her heart. And he also humiliated her professionally.
Mm.
So it's always going to be a fiery reunion. But I wanted you to see the relationship from Emma's eyes as well, because Emma didn't know Kelly then, and she doesn't know Matt, and Kelly hasn't told her because she's a professional. And so seeing that interplay from Emma's view as well, I thought was important to have a third wheel going on.
That
So
was really good.
that's why I
Yeah.
put that in.
Yeah, I love that. I loved how Kelly takes a junior colleague with her to London, letting her experience some of the razzle dazzle of the larger team and also the technology as well. And also, I really loved the 5-hour drive to London. Working in the back seat the whole time. Oh God, it's such a long drive, but
Yeah.
that was really good. I loved it how she took Emma with her.
I've done that drive so many times. There's a road in Britain called the M6, and it's the dullest road on the planet. I just can imagine them sitting in the back working, and then obviously, Emma going to London and, like you say, seeing all the processes. The slick operation of the Met. Because it's not like any other police force in Britain. Everything is compartmentalized. They've got offices with rows and rows of databases, with Holmes investigations and things like that. But I love how Kelly chooses her to take, because she's really investing in her work ethic. She's looking
Mm.
after her. She's mentoring her. But also, it also shows what a bell end Matt is, because of how he tries to manipulate, this younger officer, use everything against Kelly that he can, because he's trying to get her back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, it was really cool. I love the way it was very clever writing. All right, Rach, let's talk about some of the bigger pictures here of Bold Lies, which is lies, corruption, and secrecy. And the whole book is like a hall of mirrors where you just can't trust anyone. Were you inspired by any real world scandals at all, or was it your creative geniusness?
It's totally my geniusness, obviously. No, I mean, like I said before, that I'm so intrigued by conspiracy theories, and there's a joke that I put in number 13, which is, what do you call a conspiracy theorist? It's like, well, a year ahead of the news. And there's always this sniff of truth behind them, because it's about the establishment trying to stamp on the truth. So it's trying to reflect that. But the stories about pharmaceuticals, how much money they make, and what their true values and standards are, and what their true motivations are, they're an easy target. So obviously it does come from certain scandals.
Yep.
It's only recently that the insurance guy in America was assassinated, if you remember, for not paying
Oh,
out.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so things like that, you see it all the time on the news, and of course, horrifically now. I'm not going to get into the politics or either side, because I'm not a scientist. But horrifically now, we're seeing stories coming out, about the COVID jab and how safe it was, etc., etc. So there's always something rumbling. There's always a story there. So that's what inspired it, really. but what I wanted to do was sort of juxtapose that with the truly good people who work for these huge companies, like George, like Mike, like Emily, like Alex, the scientists,
Yeah.
um, and contrast that with the super wealthy board members like Tooting, who have no principles. And I loved playing with that. Did you like that
Yeah.
element of it?
Yeah, I did, and we get to Philip Tooting a little bit later on, but, yeah, I did love that, and I love that foursome. It was only a short bit in the very beginning of the book, until, some of the things happened in the book, but, yeah, I did love that. I thought it was really good. Oh, poor Alex. I liked Alex. He was one of my favourites.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, but I reckon that's what makes it so unnerving, Rach. These people look respectable, successful, they're polished, but underneath it's not. It's kind of creepy because it feels so real, with these big farmers. Um, let's talk a little bit about the Montague Club. Is that a real thing? And because this type of club still operates today, was there any insights there that you can share with us?
Yeah. So at the time I wrote this, I was part of a mentoring scheme, a local community outreach, and so basically, I went on a course, and then it matched me with somebody in the community who was maybe a bit lonely or maybe struggling with um, anything really, like getting their shopping or that sort of
Mhm.
thing. And so I was matched with an incredible lady who was actually in her 90s, and she used to live in Berkeley Square, near Berkeley Square in Belgravia in London, and the stories of what she told me about London, um, because she was obviously born in the 1920s. So the story of her life and that kind of um, that type of wealth
Mm,
in that area, and possibly what it might be masking, really sort of fired something up in my imagination. So that's what inspired the location. But these clubs, absolutely, they're
mm.
everywhere. That's where these deals are done. That's where business is done. That's where these uh, memberships are handed out as freebies, as backhanders to
Right.
high level civil servants, politicians. Whenever there's a scandal, if you do a bit of digging, they're always members of these clubs.
Mm.
So I had to create something like the Montague Club, and I named it that because obviously it's Sebastian's name.
Yes, yeah.
Um, but yeah, and it's not too long ago that there was a huge money laundering case. It was called the Azerbaijan
Oh, yeah,
laundromat.
yeah, we've talked
Remember
about
that?
this in another
Yeah,
pod, yeah.
and it was traced all the way back to London. And these shell companies have SARD on a square like Belgravia, which is just an address, and that's a postal address for a shell company.
Oh,
Do a bit of digging, and it's a laundering operation, and that's now been clamped down on by the banks because it was revealed. And so all the banks now have these laws that they've got to comply with. They've got to be really careful whose money they take,
right.
and then not laundering it. So that also is what inspired the London connection. And I know quite a few people who work in banks, and they helped me with the whole sort of getting my head around what is
Yeah,
money laundering, because it's so complex.
yeah,
These companies are all secret. They've all got shell names, and um, so there's that sort of underbelly of tax evasion and political corruption that is as real today as it always was. And I imagined them meeting in this respectable club to give a sniff of legitimacy to it all. And they're a breed unlike the rest of us, and they think they can do what they like without consequence.
but
And they're my favourite baddies to bring down.
yeah, but within those walls of the Montague Club, they have it's their law unto their own and, their private rooms and, what they eat and every drink, and it's everything to excess. It's
Yeah.
so, it's so incredibly over the top.
Indulgence. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's talk lies, Rach. The secret research that no one knows about and knows how it's funded, the secret lab with the team of Emily, Mike, Alex, and George. It's also known as playing squash. And what they're about to uncover with their discovery and their research, it was smart. And it was also really smart the way that Alex found the bodies and how he left the building so it would be discovered by the police. Hopefully, that's not too much of a spoiler. But by the way, he never got to the Thai restaurant for dinner. I was worried about he was going to have his dinner.
And this is one of those examples where there's a little bit of me in all of the books, and I guess some people say write what you know, other people say, oh no, it's completely, it's nothing to do with me at all. But there's always little bits of me in my books, and this Thai, and when I imagined them meeting, for their clandestine squash club, which
Yeah.
obviously is not a squash club at all. I had them in my favourite Thai on Bethnal Green Road, which is where I used to live in East London.
So it's a real
And I,
place. There's a real
yeah,
place. Oh.
I don't know if it's still there, but 20 years ago, it was the best Thai in London. And I love Alex's character. And of course, lies are at the heart of the book.
Yes.
He knows that he can't trust anybody, but he also knows he's in danger. So it's a real sort of tragedy, that story, without giving too much away.
Yeah.
But the lies are in the title. They're in Kelly's personal life with Matt popping up. It's as if nowhere's safe, and that's the kind of setting I was going for. Everybody has an ulterior motive that they're concealing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. That's why I love the front cover so much, because you've got
Yeah.
that beautiful lake with the rowing boat. Yeah, and then underneath you just
Yeah.
don't. You've got all that darkness at the bottom. So I really loved that cover.
Yeah. And that's also really similar to our logo too. The Killer Storyteller
Yes.
podcast logo was sort of derived from that. This isn't on the script here, but what's your go-to when you go to Thai? I always go a chicken curry for some reason.
Oh, do
Green
you?
chicken curry, yeah. Yeah.
So we always go for starters, because the menu is so amazing that I'm such a pig. I just want everything. So we go for the chicken wings, we go for the satay, we go
Yum.
for the the little bits, and then we normally have a pad thai, a prawn
Oh,
pad thai.
God, yeah,
It
yum.
reminds us
Oh.
of Thailand. So my husband and I went to Thailand the year before we got married, and we flew into Bangkok. Then we got the train up to Chiang Mai, did elephant trekking,
Wow.
which I know is not really very ethical to do now. In those days, it wasn't really on people's minds. I'm so glad that it's been flagged up now. I jumped over a snake and ate
Oh.
a jungle curry on a hut on stilts, because they had loads of cobras. And
Oh my
then
God.
we flew to Koh Samui and
Oh,
stayed in a
beautiful.
and ate green curry until we popped.
Oh,
Yeah.
so good. We've just been overseas as well, and we've had, I tried to eat as much nasi goreng and char kway teow as
Oh.
possible. It's my favourite. Anything with noodles, I could just die eating that. So,
Oh, amazing. And that is on my
so
list. I
delicious.
mean,
Yeah.
you absolutely love Malaysia, don't you?
Oh,
You
it was
just
so
yeah.
good, yeah. Alrighty, now that we've talked about food, I'm getting really hungry, right? Thank you very much. Alright, so for Kelly, she's right in the middle of it. She's in the London office working with Matt and trying to piece how the 3 murdered people, how it all fits together and figure out who she can actually trust. And in fact, she's hiding information and not putting stuff into homes, or she's putting limited stuff in there to try and flush out an informant. That's a really interesting bit in the book that comes out quite later, like that. That was
Yeah.
interesting, mate, wasn't it?
I think she's trying to prove herself all over again, isn't she? Because she's with Matt. And you can feel her wobble. He really
Yep.
tests her confidence, doesn't he? He really knocks her confidence all over again. He doesn't quite manage it, because she's a lot stronger now. She's had that time in the Lake District now, and she's finding herself. But because when her reputation was damaged, So this is a real opportunity to redeem herself, and her processes are absolutely second to none. It doesn't matter about all the technology in the Met. It's her nose, isn't it, that's the
It
important
is.
thing.
Yeah, and there's a bit in the book, I can't remember what page it is, but, in her internal monologue, she's like, "Oh, actually, we work really well together here." But she's glad that she doesn't work with him anymore, but there was glimmers of that as well,
Yeah.
wasn't there, when she was kind of like going, "Oh, we did actually work really well together," and they do in this case.
Yeah, because they're
But
both good operators. Yeah.
yeah. We've talked about this a lot, but she's grown so much since book one. But in Bold Lies, she is really pushed to the max, and we read that when she comes back to the lakes and she's on the verge of crying in some parts. Was that part of the plan to test her judgment and her relationships even more, Rach?
Yeah, totally. She's at a real crossroads. And it was as if this test was always coming. You can feel the tension of her being back in London
Yeah,
to
it
do a
was.
job, which she does. And then she releases it when she comes back home, which is a nice touch because obviously Johnny's there, waiting. It's a bit like a coming of age edition to the series, where she finds out where she truly
Yeah,
belongs.
yeah,
And
that's right.
I quite liked that vulnerable side of her. Did
It was
you?
really, yeah, it was really obvious, and then when she did go back home and how she felt, and there's a scene coming up that we're gonna talk about in a sec, but it was sort of like, "Nah, this is where I'm meant to be." Yep, she knew that. She knew that she wasn't be back in London, working and living in London anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it kind of it illustrated how, strong she is, but she's not invincible. So she gets knocked around emotionally, but she keeps on going, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
like, I really like that about her.
yeah. All right, Rach, I want to pick your brain about the science angle in this book. And you know, I love like whatever sciencey stuff you put in, I always try and figure out something really cool to chat about in the podcast. But in this book, the expertly wiped labs, the staged deaths, the whole thing was really clinical and chilling. I want to understand what kind of research did you stumble into around this time, and was there anything that you kind of thought, "Oh, that's going to freak my audience out," and you found it? So there was one thing that freaked me out, and that was a dead chimpanzee in the river.
That was a good touch, wasn't it?
Yeah, what do you reckon?
Well, I live in North Hertfordshire, which is north of London, and it's near Cambridgeshire, and it is the English capital of science. And we have loads of sciencey people that live around here and work around here because
Right.
this is where a lot of the big labs are, like GlaxoSmithKline,
Okay.
Roche,
Yep.
huge global companies, pharmaceuticals, ironically. And I interviewed a really good friend of mine who works in one of them nearby. And he explained the whole process to me. So, what it's like inside a lab, what they wear, what they do, how they take, a drug from that plant in South America and then, work 10 years on it and spend £1 billion on one drug and how it gets to the market. It was just so fascinating talking to him. So, with each book, I get to pick the brains of a new, really extraordinary person.
How
Um,
fantastic is that?
yeah.
Your brain must be bursting with stuff. It is, right?
Oh, yeah, all the time. My fingers just don't work fast enough. I've got loads of stories to tell, which is a good thing. It's a
That's
good thing. I'm never going to run out.
fascinating. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so fascinating, and, I can't wait to have some of those types of people on the podcast as well, because that's so, so interesting, right? And that's what I also love about reading your books, and Bold Lies is no different to the other ones that we've read. Always end up learning something weird or slightly terrifying, and like how to clean a shower full of blood after a murder. Oh, hang on, flashback to Strike a Saw, remember that one?
Oh, yeah. I know, absolutely. It's like but if you're going to write an autopsy scene, you need to know how to get through the ribs, right?
Yeah, you got to. Yeah, she really is laughing very hard, everybody. So this will be up on YouTube, so you'll be able to see Rachel's face like brighten up. All righty, let's lighten things a little bit. Let's talk about Tilly Knight, the journalist. I really love the spunk and the get up and go of this character, and the way she inadvertently is involved in George's murder, her liaison with the handsome Graham, the stand-up paddleboard scene, and the free bikinis. Nice one, Graham, you sexy old fox.
I've always got to have a bit of, like relief, excuse the pun, in the books, because it's the, they're really dark themes, aren't they? And I think crime readers, you obviously, you, Christy, you like a good laugh, and I think that darkness pervades everything in life, but we deal with it in lots of different ways. One of them is humor, and I think that when a book lightens the load and gives you a little touch like that, like Tilly, getting in a bikini and going, oh my god, this Graham is actually part of the investigation.
Yeah.
Ding dong, double, win-win.
She couldn't believe her luck, could she?
Yeah. Exactly. And she, last episode we were talking about messenger characters like Kurt.
Yes. Yep.
Tilly is one of those messenger characters. She's the one who keeps digging and moving things forward. So she's a really useful character to bring in. And I like to bring in those characters, different ones every time.
I love that.
They might be a journalist, an expert, or something to move the story forward in a plausible way. So yeah, I love that. And I love that side relationship with Graham.
Yeah.
And I love that it's really plausible as well that, most people know each other in those small towns in the Lake District. So Johnny and Graham know each other.
And then they went out to drinks and then
yeah,
like they're having this conversation. Tilly's asking these questions and Johnny's like, who the hell is this woman? I shouldn't be saying any of this information to you, Graham.
Because Graham's a little bit blinded by Tilly's bikini and hasn't really cottoned on that she might be there for, other reasons. Yeah. But Johnny's straight on it.
Oh, he's totally on it. But I love your description there of the messenger character. It's such a great description. And last time I thought, you were talking about Kurt, and he was like you called him like a transport vehicle or something like that. I love these adjectives in crime writing. It's so ace. It's such a good insight. Alrighty, guys, back on track. Some of the corrupt people in this book are epic. So we talked about him. This is this Pharma CEO, Philip Tooting, Professor Miranda Cooper, and the guys from the Montague Club. So it's hard to keep up with all the lies, let alone writing them all. It must be such a mind twist for you, Rach.
I think I choose complex plots because it keeps me entertained. And one of somebody actually described my books as standing at the top of the stairs and unraveling a ball of wool down the stairs, and as it unravels, everything becomes clear. And I really like that. It's such a compliment because that's exactly what I'm trying to do. And so, having all of these different strands is really important to me because it satisfies my curious brain.
Yep.
And I love the puzzle nature of that, which is really important to crime, isn't it? Because I think that crime readers like unpicking and trying to actually guess before you get to the end. Oh, is it them? And what's their role? And so that's a really satisfying part of crime.
You don't want it to be too obvious either. There's all those shock factors that come into it. So don't want to go on about it again, but The Rich was like that. There was a massive shock factor in there. So, yeah.
And I do have a thing for privileged baddies like The Rich, this idea that privilege covers up a multitude of sins is a theme that I quite like to explore. I did that in The Secret Inheritance as well, which we've got to do for a pod because that's very different. It's not like a mystery. And there's so many pampered pricks in this, like Sebastian Montague Rowland. I mean, you just need to read his name to know what he's like. And you're right. His huge ego. He's just begging to be knocked down. So I do. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Philip Tooting, classic CEO who bought his position rather than earned it. I'm not slating all COs there. It's a classic sort of stereotype of that sort of corrupt class, isn't it?
Yeah.
Christopher Slater. We had to have a government worker in there, somebody who was bought off,
Yep.
which was important for the story. So he works for the British government at DEFRA, which is the farming and the environmental agency, and he's as dodgy as they come. He sold his soul to the devil years ago. And then you've got Dame Charlotte at the Home Office, because we
Yep.
need some legitimacy in there. And it's giving me sudden death vibes, number 10, where, with the helicopter crash, and you've got a politician in there, and you've got you haven't got there yet. Right. Okay. So that
No.
will give you Bold Lies vibes.
Right.
And
Okay.
yeah. And then you've got the Colonel, because we needed a little bit of a military angle in there.
Oh,
Benjamin Dansford, who is a bit of a flake. They've all sold their souls for the money to the devil and for self gain. And I really hope that you enjoyed their downfalls as much as I did writing them.
oh yeah, and they love their red wine too at the Montague Club.
Their cigars.
I think Ben, the Colonel, he's drinking it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. you know. Oh god, they're so good. And this book, we were saying, it was written in 2019, and now we're recording the podcast. Rach, does it take you back to that time? Because it was a while ago now. And was it fun to write Bold Lies? Do you call it fun? Because it's fun to read.
It's it's a weird one, isn't it? Calling a crime novel fun to write, but it really does sort of entertain me, because of the complexity and the sort of the lightness in there, the relationships in there, and I have massive affection for the whole series. I look back on them now at I'm about to start number 14, and I look back at them now, and I have great affection for all of them for completely different reasons. So yeah, I do. I look back at Bold Lies. And I think about my research trip with the kids, because we took canoes out from that shop where Graham works. That's a real place. And we took
right.
canoes out, and we canoed down Derwent Water. So it brings back loads of great memories. And
Did you
these
see any
old houses. Go on.
along the way. I was just going to say, did you see any hot guys there at the shop?
Yeah, my husband. It's what she has to say. Yeah, Graham was off that day.
There's one bit in the book where they say they hire out the kayaks for like 2 hours, and it takes everybody like an hour to get out of
Out of the marina.
and then an hour to come back. I went kayaking just recently on our overseas trip, and I got in the front, Howie got in the back. Within about 20 seconds, we'd rolled it. We were both fully soaked.
Oh my God. Was that the rapids pictures? They were amazing.
Yeah. It was before we got to the rapids. It was like, I can't canoe, kayak, whatever. I'm just shit at it. And I need to see the bottom. Like, they couldn't see the bottom here.
Well, you saw the bottom.
Yeah.
Good job you weren't in the rapids when you were rolling.
Oh, God, I'm so bad at it. Like, oh, my gosh, dear. All right. Little music break here. That was funny. So funny. So shit at canoeing. Alrighty, guys, you know what's next. As we come to the end of the episode, let's rip with some rapid fire style questions, which also gives us a bit more information on the book. All right, Rach, I had to Google this.
The beautiful antique boats. It was a real discovery for me. Those gorgeous wooden boats, all hand carved and loved by real enthusiasts like the lovely old Lord Allerdale.
Yeah, R.I.P.
What about you, Christy?
Yeah, well, mine is a little bit different, and it's right up the front of the book. It's page 47, and it's the really interesting history reference to Cecil Rhodes and the Montague Rowland's invention of the sandproof locomotive engine in South Africa. So that was really interesting, and you just sent me down a rabbit hole, so thank you very much.
Oh my God, that's
brilliant. Interesting.
I love that. Okay, best character and why? Who stole the show for you?
Oh, for me, it was Tilly Knight. She was gorgeous. She was a go-getter, full of energy. And what I loved about her was that she was just really curious and trusting as well. So, yeah. What about you?
Named after my daughter. So for me, it was Alex. He just so wants to do the right thing, but he's very, very wary of British authority because he's, and this is not a spoiler. He's a Cypriot, and he trusts no one. And I really, really rooted for him.
Yeah, same here. He was a great character. So who was your worst character in a good or bad way?
Oh, Sebastian. He just existed for his grandfather's money, and he was just despicable. No value of anyone but himself.
Even his grandfather hated him. For me, it was Aunt Brenda. She was a ball buster. I don't want to mess with her, and I don't think there was enough airtime for Aunt Brenda in the book, so it was just a little bit. And I've got this awesome idea for you, Rach. How about you write a book with all of the baddies from all of the books and bring them into one mega badass book?
Oh my god, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's got to be done.
All those drop kicks. There was Darren back in, I don't know, Dark Game or whatever it was, the guy that was watching MasterChef and,
Oh,
just
them
there's a
you could put them all in a game like Squid Game, where they have to kill each other.
yeah, it's a great idea. I think this has really got legs. We put
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
all of those horrible characters in one massive book and yeah, Squid
And they've
Game.
all got to kill each other. Love it, love it. Right, I'm thinking already.
All right. All right. All right, so what's your favourite quote or scene in the book?
I think I've picked when she arrives in London and her heart is racing, page 65. She was back. Her heart rate increased and she felt the familiar pump of adrenaline flood her veins. Her life was so different now. The Lake District had softened her. I love that.
Yeah, really, really good.
What about yours?
Mine's down the back end of the book, page 361, and this is a quote from Matt, and this was Kelly's empire, and he was envious of her. It's from Matt's point of view, and he's actually jealous of her, and he mentions his role in London, how it can be soulless. It was a really powerful paragraph, and it was just like, yeah, up yours, mate.
Yeah, he's worked out that she's sorted, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. What about
What
you?
about Kelly Porter favourite moment?
Mine was on page 290. It's a really emotional scene where Kelly and Ted are having a moment, and Kelly is crying, but she's not making any sound. But she's just allowing herself to be like having a weak moment. And Ted's just holding her in this unconditional embrace. It was a really kind, sweet, tender moment. I loved that one.
Oh, they're really getting close by Bold Lies, aren't
Yeah,
they?
yeah, it was beautiful. How about you?
So mine was another really touching one, which was she's in London, she's missing Johnny, and she's talking to him over the phone, and Johnny's just taken Ted out to one of his favourite spots to reminisce about Wendy. I really liked that.
Yeah, that's really sweet. All right, lastly, something funny, could be from the book or behind the scenes. So tell me, give us a laugh. Oh, no, that sounds a bit weird.
So
I'll just read that again because it
yeah,
sounded a bit weird. All right, Rach, lastly, something funny, could be from the book or behind the scenes. Give us a laugh.
so mine is when Tilly realises that Graham is actually central to the case she's investigating because he's so easy on the eye. She's hit the jackpot, and the assignment will be surprisingly enjoyable. What about you?
Yeah, it's a win-win for her.
Absolutely.
All right, this one is an absolute pisser. So it's on page 350. Philip Tooting's wife calls him to say the police are looking for him, and he says, "How do you know about the flat in London?" And she says, "Oh, come on, Philip. I know about everything. That's not important. Why do they want to speak to you?" So she doesn't give a rat's that he's got a separate flat in London that he hasn't told her about. She's just like, "Why do the police want to speak to you?" It was just absolute classic. In my head, I was just killing myself laughing because
Yeah,
he thinks he's getting away with secret flat, women, whatever. And she's like, "Come on, Philip. I know about
yeah.
everything, but that's
He
not
just
important right now."
Yeah, exactly. He's just taking her for a total fool, and she's completely on it.
She knows what's going on. That was a really funny line to me. And I write in all the books, underline
Yeah,
and make my little notes and stuff, and then circled that one, a big fat ha.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, no, okay, I'll do that again. Oh, well, Christy, that wraps up this episode, I think, doesn't it? Another absolutely fantastic ep of the Killer Storyteller podcast with me, Rachel Lynch, and my Aussie pal, Christy Horn. We really hope you've enjoyed listening as much as we've loved chatting through it. And next up, we are going to have a special guest.
Ooh, can't wait to find out who it is. And in the meantime, come along and follow us as we dive into all the books. We'd love to hear where you're up to in the series and your thoughts. And you can watch us and all the bloopers on our YouTube channel, listen to the playlist, or hit follow, subscribe wherever you are so you don't miss an episode. Alrighty, Rach, that was an absolutely epic episode. I loved recording Bold Lies and discussing all about the book. How did you enjoy this one?
I loved it. And also, Christy, because it was the book that brought us together. So it was
Yeah.
really, really special. A couple of years ago when I got that message out of the blue from you and Ben saying, hi, we've read your book. Would you like to come on our podcast and talk about it, to where we are now? So it was really, really special. I loved it.
Yeah. And this book has been read by so many people, Rach. Let me just show you before we hang up. Everybody who's read it has written in the front.
Oh, and this is the club.
Yeah, this is what started the Rachel Lynch one book club, but now we've got like the whole suite. So yeah, everybody who has read it has put their initials in it, and so it goes over the page. So lots of people have read this book.
Well, big love to all of those people. Thank you.
Alrighty, guys, that's it for now. We're over and out. We'll see you next time on the Killer Storyteller podcast. See you later.
Bye.